Good morning. Right, thank you so much. Let me take this opportunity to thank the chairperson for the opportunity, and also thank the DBE for extending an invite to Umalusi. So we, as Umalusi, do not take this opportunity lightly, because we see it as an opportunity to provide feedback on all the quality assurance processes that we conduct or undertake as the Quality Council. And we see this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to actually dispel the myths that are there about the role of Umalusi in the perhaps quality assurance of public exams. So immediately after perhaps standardization meetings or approval meetings, often there would be articles that would appear in newspapers reporting about what we did and so forth. And often half of the things that get to be reported on are a misrepresentation of what we do. So like I indicated, we do not take this opportunity lightly, but we see it as an opportunity to educate the nation. So if I'm able to convince you that we're doing a credible job in making sure that we make the qualifications that we award credible, and we employ quite a number of processes. Chairperson, I'm well aware that I have 25 minutes to actually take you through all the quality assurance processes that we undertaken on the public exams, examinations that took place in November and December. I know it's not easy, ladies and gentlemen, to be a speaker after scholars, more especially when there are linguists. You know, linguists have this art of, selecting the right words. I saw you captivated. They held you captive throughout their presentation until to the very end. And I was able to see it through the questions that came through. So I just hope I'll be able to live up to that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my presentation outline. And mindful of the fact that I only have 25 minutes to make my point, I've taken a conscious decision, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm not going to dwell on the directives for compliance and improvement, and I also not going to delve into standardization and resulting. Not because they are not so important. As indicated, I'm doing so in the interest of time. Standardization and resulting is an important concept that is misunderstood, but I chose not to delve into it because I know colleagues are afraid with the principles that we use, ladies and gentlemen, when we standardize the results. In terms of why am I not going to be delving into directives for compliance and improvement, we have reported extensively on all the quality assurance process that we undertook. So we have provided feedback in the form of a report, the report which is also published on our website, so colleagues would get to know areas of non-compliance and the directives that were issued to actually remedy the situation. So that is why I feel that even if I don't delve into that, at least colleagues would be able to know where to find all these directives that we issued. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to actually take you through the mandate and the regulatory framework. The reason for putting this, ladies and gentlemen, is to just indicate that Umalusi has every right to exist. And we owe our existence to 2 acts of Parliament, the National Qualifications Framework Act number 67 of 2008, and also the what we call Janfactua Act. So, and we draw our mandate from the sections as indicated there. But I just want to indicate that in our discharge of our duties, ladies and gentlemen, we would perform external moderation on assessment. And we do so, ladies and gentlemen, protected by Janfactua Act. So it's within our mandate to do so, ladies and gentlemen. And in the course of standardizing results, we do move marks, we do adjust marks up and down, and also in some cases retain them. And we do so protected by the act that I've just spoken to. And we also do approve results, ladies and gentlemen. And we also have, you know, we don't just approve results for the sake of it, but, you know, assessment bodies have to prove to us that they've complied with every rule that is there, and therefore the results that they are putting or presenting before us are credible. So, and we're doing so, ladies and gentlemen, in line with the policy prescript as mentioned. And in discharging our mandate, ladies and gentlemen, we have adopted a framework for quality assurance. And the framework is there solely to ensure that all assessments leading to the award of certificates that we issue are credible. They conform to all principles of assessment, and most of all were designed in line with policy prescripts, as you know them, ladies and gentlemen. Just to take you through the quality assurance processes that we undertake, we do moderate question papers, we do moderate PEDs and common assessment tasks in terms of life orientation. We monitor and moderate school-based assessment. We audit the state of readiness to conduct exams. We audit the appointment of markers across all levels. We also monitor the conduct, administration and management of assessment and exam processes. We do standardize the marking guidelines. These are the instruments that we use to ensure that marking is consistent and also credible and reflect the achievement of learning outcomes. We also monitor and verify marking. We manage the concessions and examination irregularities. We standardize assessment outcomes. And lastly, we approve the release of results. Just to delve into the scope, ladies and gentlemen, I have this section here, ladies and gentlemen, so that I need to provide, ladies and gentlemen, the extent of our work. So we moderated and approved 162 NSC question papers for DBE, ladies and gentlemen, which included backup papers. I'm not going to go through that. We also sampled 10 NSC subjects for school-based assessment. And we selected, amongst these 10, we selected the subjects with practical component, and we got to moderate PED as we moderate the school-based assessment. In 2020, we never had the latitude to actually moderate oral assessment, but we did delve into some components of oral assessment, more especially in subjects, language subjects that we selected for moderation of SPA. We audited DBE state of readiness to conduct the November exams and reported on it on the 14th of October. We monitored writing in 400 examination centers and marking in 10 examination centers. We participated in the marking guidelines standardization meetings of all subjects that were approved. On all subjects and question papers, we approved, and then of which these meetings culminated in the approval and signing off of marking guidelines. And we only approve, ladies and gentlemen, if we are sure that the instrument that we approve would facilitate reliable, valid, and accurate marking. We verified marking of 37 subjects across all 9 PEDs. We actually standardized the results of 66 subjects for National Senior Certificate. All irregularities that were identified during marking, during writing, marking, and post marking, ladies and gentlemen, were actually ratified. Let me just try to read this, my apologies. All irregularities that were identified were managed in accordance with the regulations pertaining to the conduct, administration, and management of the National Senior Certificate examinations by PEICs and ratified by the NEIC, ladies and gentlemen. The detailed report, as alluded to earlier, on all the quality assurance processes that we conducted, ladies and gentlemen, were shared with the Department of Basic Education, and we want to believe that it has reached all the PEDs. If not so, ladies and gentlemen, it's not train smash. As indicated, it has been published on our website, so you can go to our website, then you'll be able to access it there. Ladies and gentlemen, on question paper moderation, as I'm going to be presenting, this is just a feedback, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a helicopter view of the findings of moderation. So therefore, as I do that, I'm just going to delve into the positives. This would give you an impression. It's basically to give you an impression that at least there's something that you are doing to actually make sure that the NSC is credible. One positive that we think it's important to put out there to encourage DBE to replicate it across its system is that for 2022, ladies and gentlemen, we have approved 42 question papers at first moderation. Even though this seemed to be a deadline compared to the previous years, ladies and gentlemen, but there's a silver lining here. The silver lining is that some, or in fact, a good number of question papers that were approved at first moderation were approved at first moderation in previous years. So therefore, all what we are saying is that, there's a lesson to learn out of this. So DBE must just go back and look at what makes all these question papers that year in, year out are approved at first moderation. What is it, what lessons can be drawn from there, and take those and replicate it throughout, and make them to strengthen trainings that are conducted year in, year out. And the fact that not a single question paper was rejected in the first moderation, it's also an indication that, the stability, the requirements or the criteria is understood across the board. As indicated, I'm not going to dwell into areas of non-compliance and the directives that we issued to address the areas of non-compliance, but I'm just going to single out areas of recurrent areas of non-compliance. Ladies and gentlemen, we noted this recurrent area of non-compliance in the development of question paper, and it relates to the text selection types and quality of question papers. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe me when I say only 28% of the question papers that were submitted for external moderation fully complied with this criterion. And ladies and gentlemen, those that are au fait with the development of question paper, text selection, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the critical components of making sure that the items that we develop are of quality and conform to standards. So when question papers do not conform to this, that tells us that we really need to build capacity in our item developers. Then the other issue is on the accuracy and reliability of marking guidelines. The marking guidelines do not talk to the question paper. And we understand why, because you know, during moderation there will be toing and froing, and feedback would be given. So it's given on the question paper. So when changes are made, often they would be effected only on the question paper and not on the marking guidelines. So that is an issue that should be, ladies and gentlemen, emphasized in the training. And on moderation of SBA pattern oral assessment, ladies and gentlemen, what I can indicate as a positive is that, you know, we have seen compliance, ladies and gentlemen, with technical aspects. So we're no longer seeing files that do not conform to the requirements. All components would be in place, files would be organized and so forth. It's a positive. We did not include it as an area of practice, but area of improvement or area of a good practice. But we just thought we should actually congratulate you on this, to say at least on the aspect of technical aspect, on the area of technical aspect, you're doing very well. We want to single out the following PEDs: Free State, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, Western Cape, ladies and gentlemen, for providing tasks that were compatible with the prescribed CAPS program of assessment, ladies and gentlemen, in quite a number of subjects. This is an indication that at least learners knew when particular assessments were to be carried out and so forth. So are the parents. So in terms of planning, you are doing very well. So keep it up. Another area of improvement, ladies and gentlemen, that we noted was on the area of presentation of marks and mark sheets, and this we want to attribute it to SASM. So there you're doing very well. Keep up the good work. Then in terms of recurrent non-compliance, we still seeing poor quality of internal moderation. This is what we normally term shadow marking. So we have seen progress, but at least you still have to do more in trying to eradicate what we call shadow marking. And we haven't seen as much as we want to constructive feedback given to learners and also to teachers on internal moderation that was undertaken. So it's an area that perhaps you need to do more on. Then the other issue was with regard to South African Sign Language. I think this was seen in one province. I'm not going to mention the province, but otherwise it's something that requires your attention and intervention. Monitoring the state of readiness, ladies and gentlemen, the improvement here is that, you know, on previously issued directives, DBE and respective PEDs have worked with speed to actually address them, and we have seen a good progress there. So that's basically what I can indicate to say. All issues that were raised, that were picked up and feedback was provided on, you were able to make good progress in addressing such. Areas of recurrent non-practice, staff shortage at the provinces and districts, storage points which do not meet security norms and standards, and failure to submit concession applications for unaccredited centers as required by Umalusi. Those are issues that perhaps you need to address. Audit of appointed markers, improvements. We have seen a remarkable improvement in your selection processes with regards to compliance to the requirements insofar as subject qualifications and specifications. There you're doing very well. And submission of documents for auditing purposes. There were directives issued to Mpumalanga and Limpopo, and we have seen progress, ladies and gentlemen. So it's worth actually commending you on. We also have seen the implementation of enhancements that were introduced in 2021 with an intention to actually improve on the recruitment processes. Recurrent areas of non-compliance, non-adherence to the ratio of 1:5 of senior markers, to markers, deputy chief markers to senior markers. We know there's a reason, and I'm happy that this made it to the revised PEM, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, you have to comply with this. Monitoring the writing, areas of improvement, chief invigilators and invigilators were trained adequately. We have seen evidence of that. We have also seen adherence by examination centers to prescribed requirements for storage safekeeping of question papers. And areas of recurrent non-compliance here is that we have seen non-adherence to the general examinations procedures as provided for in the regulations pertaining to that policy, ladies and gentlemen. And we have also seen an increasing number of behavioral offenses and acts of dishonesty that occur during writing. Crib notes and you name it. I know I'm not doing well in terms of time, so I'm trying to run through that. 2 minutes, marking guidelines, standardization, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen progress regarding internal moderators and chief markers marking the required quota in their preparations for the marking guideline discussions. Area of non-compliance, even though there was movement, but we see non-adherence in other quotas, ladies and gentlemen. Insofar as marking, all marking centers were ready and were provided with suitable requirements and resources to ensure that at least they can run with the marking and so forth. List of marking personnel were also available, and this is important, ladies and gentlemen, just to check if indeed people that are marking there are those that were appointed during the process of recruitment. Areas of improvement insofar as marking of examinations, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen occupational health or OS certificates, OHS certificates, and then timers arrival of scripts and marking guidelines and training scripts, vast improvements in the consistency and standard of the security measures, ladies and gentlemen. Non-adherence would be timer supply of marking guidelines at some marking centers. So there was late submission. The verification of marking, ladies and gentlemen, there was marked improvement in the quality of internal moderation, and areas which require your intervention is the adherence to the ratio of 1:5 that I've alluded to earlier on, and also inconsistent marking and internal moderation that we saw in South African Sign Language, more especially in paper 2. Now, ladies and gentlemen, statistical moderation, I'm just going to go here to say, ladies and gentlemen, over and above standardization of results, what we do is statistical moderation of SBA. This was not supposed to be a permanent feature, a quality assurance feature, ladies and gentlemen. It was introduced to actually cap unreliable SBA and inflation, inflated marks, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I just have this to indicate how far we have come in eradicating inflation and also unreliable SBA. So I'm giving this in terms of centers with rejected SBAs. You can see I took stock from 2018 to 2024. As you can see the trend there, ladies and gentlemen, we are making a very good progress, ladies and gentlemen. These are the number of centers with rejected SBAs in 2022. So you would appreciate that this is just a small number. The number of centers, ladies and gentlemen, they go over 6,000. So this is just a fraction, which means, you know, when you go 10 years from now, you realize that you've made tremendous progress in trying to make sure that at least we deliver. We eradicate centers that you know, present unreliable SBA. So you're doing very well in as far as this is concerned. But here I have per subject. I've selected only those very few, ladies and gentlemen, only what we call gateway. And they they take a good fraction of those that with rejected SBAs. Ladies and gentlemen, where I need to challenge you, ladies and gentlemen, this is inflation. Here it's the number of centers per PED with a mean difference of greater than 45. So when you compare the exam mark with the SBA mark, the difference would be so huge, which speaks to inflation. So this is where you need to invest your energy as well. I want to actually challenge you to say, please invest the same energy you invested in eradicating centers which presented unreliable SBA. Now, put systems in place to actually reduce this number. It's big compared to those that present unreliable SBAs. I'm worried here, ladies and gentlemen, here these are centers that present reliable SBAs. No adjustments here. But you look at the trend, ladies and gentlemen, from 2020, the numbers are decreasing, so we don't know what is happening here. Maybe it's because these centers that produce reliable SBAs are not given accolades. They are not incentivized, ladies and gentlemen. So perhaps we need to do something as DBE to actually make them know that we are aware that you are producing reliable SBAs. Please continue in that route and perhaps identify things that make them to produce such reliable results and replicate them across the system. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my observations and I'm concluding. I have other challenges that I think I wanted to actually put across. One is approved question papers with problematic questions. We need to cut on those. And I'm making this, ladies and gentlemen, because we know that, one problematic question in a number of questions, in many questions, it's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. It's one too many. So we need to cut on this and reach a point that all question papers that get to be written are error-free. So for the previous examination cycle, only 3 question papers. Some other challenges is poor learner performance in South African Sign Language, ladies and gentlemen. This gives us sleepless nights, and as a result, during standardization meeting, we seem not to find one another. But the point that I want to make, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Umalusi is that, we can't address non-teaching through standardization. We can't do that. We can't correct ills that were supposed to be corrected during the teaching and learning through tables and so forth. That we can't do, ladies and gentlemen. This is in your court. Make sure that there's proper teaching and learning in those classrooms, ladies and gentlemen, so that all learning outcomes that are there in the policy documents get to be realized and achieved. So, and the other issue is this one of the boards. The emerging trends, the irregularities here, worrisome. Those are recommendations, but as I conclude, I just want to read the last bullet to say we have a joint responsibility to ensure that all assessments that are undertaken are of good quality, reliable, and credible. And so in striving to achieve this ideal, ladies and gentlemen, we should not cease to ensure that all assessments that contribute towards candidates' final marks are aligned to the learning outcomes. This talks to the classroom, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.